Shalom. Assalamu alaikum, my friends. I wanted to make a correction. I think I may have said something that was not correct in the wording. So I want to clarify it and try to show you guys some kind of living proof to explain that sometimes science and NASA and them, they're lying to you. And I'm going to try to show you a living attribute or proof of this. So here's the video I made about it. Life, all that stuff. That's part of the Most High God. Okay? Now, as this is revolving, as you've seen in that thing, the moon does not rotate. Okay? It stays the same. But it moves around. What I meant to say, and after this, when I was saying it, look. And the sun goes. Where I said that it moves around the earth, the moon moving around the earth, right? I wanted to, that word is not right. What I say, the moon does not revolve around the earth. That's what I wanted to say. Though you're like, what? Well, we've been told the moon revolves around the earth, and then the whole thing revolves. Really? I meant to say that the moon has its own axis spin. The sun has its own spin, and the earth has its own axis spin. Now, I'm going to show you an evidence and a proof to confirm that the moon does not go around the earth. It's the opposite. The earth goes around the moon. Okay? The earth goes around the moon. The moon does not go around the earth. I'm going to show everybody a proof of that. And this is why I say they have never left our Earth's atmosphere. Now, the Earth's atmosphere has many layers to it, and the moon itself is actually the last body of our atmosphere, right? It's like it's in our atmosphere, but to go beyond the moon, there's a layer, it's impossible. You can't go beyond the moon. You can't even go, I'm going to show you can't go around. Let me just show you. It's hard to put in words. It's something you have to see. Now, this is the moon. This is the earth. Of course, that's the sun, right? I put this wire here to let you guys understand, because I have seen some videos of a guy showing people how it is that we are only seeing one side of the moon. And they used an excuse that if the moon can spin as fast as it revolves, right? That's why you only seeing one side of the moon. That's what they say. I'm going to show everybody that's a lie using this. So here the earth is spinning. And the way that they have described it, they say that these so-called satellites or moons are revolving around the planets. When in fact, if you look at an atom, you look at the molecules of the electrons and the neutrons and the protons, you see how they are moving around the nucleus, right, the middle, and these things are moving around it. Now, they will say that if as long as this is spinning and it goes around it like that, right? Like if it spins like this as fast as it's going around the earth, that's why we only seen one side of the moon. That's what they're using as an excuse. That's what they say. That's a lie. I'll show you. So let's say that this here, that here is what you see on the moon constantly. Now, everyone knows that even regardless, so we'll look at it like this. No matter what, and I put a hook right here so you can see that no matter what, when it spins, it has to spin and completely go like that. Okay, that's a axis that it has, right? Now here, they're trying to say, as long as it goes as fast, that's why you're seeing only that side. Now, think about this. As this goes around, it has to spin. It has to go, and now look at the wiring. So when they made the video, they are altering that concept. And you can clearly tell the glitches in their video where they're trying to move the line and keep the images moving. So in a video, you can move images, but in reality, you can't change this face. You can't change this face, so don't even attempt to try to change the face and move it over onto this side. It has to stay there. So when it's facing here, it must spin. You see that? It must spin. It is spinning. It is. And those lines are moving. They are moving. You see the hook? There's the hook right there. Look at it. See? It's moving. Now like I said, they say that it is spinning at the same speed. It doesn't matter. If you're trying to say that it is revolving around the earth, it has to spin. Even if it was going as fast as it spinned, see, here it is right there, it has to revolve. That line will always be moving. Therefore, the only way to see just one side of the moon, the only way that is possible, having this right here, what was the word I was using? Damn it, man. I'm so stupid with these words. Okay, so shit. All right, so this spinning on its own axis, right? And pretend like this is a molecule pulling on one another, right? Pulling on each other. And the pulling of each other is what creates tidal waves. The high tide and the low tide. When the moon is closest to the earth, it is a high tide. When it's further away, it becomes low tide. The moon itself cannot. Now you have to understand, these things on their rotations cannot, like, let's say the earth is going around like this, and then this one's going around in its own weird little ovulated thing, right? You see? So sometimes it's way out over here, and then on other times it becomes really, really close. So you can see that sometimes the moon is real big, sometimes the moon is real small. How's that happening? Well, because the earth is on a wobble. Now remember, we're looking at this face all the time. It never changes. It never changes. So the only way that is possible, okay, is if, now remember, this is spinning. This itself is spinning. The only way that this is possible is if these bodies, now look, are like this. And it's not that the moon, look at that, see? It's not that the moon is spinning. See the rotation? See how it's rotating? It's still rotating. You see how it's moving? That line is rotating around. You understand? It has moved. And the reason it is moving is because there is how can I explain it to you guys to show you that the earth is not going around the moon, and the moon is not going around the earth. It has to be in a figure 8 in a manner. Now do you see this? See how this is spinning? And it's always the same side of the moon. Can you guys see that clearly now? Do you see? And they're going like this. This is how they're really turning. And this is why you're always seeing this is because the moon, it takes the moon to make a one revolving around. Now you have to understand though, so it's very hard to do. Only God can do it because God is the one, He placing it there. So I'm not God, so it's hard for me to show you, but I will try my best. So we have it here. Now watch that. Watch this. Okay? So imagine that these are moving up and down, all around, up and down, all around, up and down, all around. Do you see that? These bodies are not revolving around each other. They have their own axis. Do you see that? How this is spinning? It's still spinning, but it is spinning in a ovalated shape. You see this? You see it, everyone? This is not spinning solo around, and this is not spinning solo around. They are actually spinning together in concordance. But this one takes 28 days to make a complete rotation, and this one takes 24 hours to make a complete rotation. And that rotation is like that. You see how I'm doing this? It's like that. Forward here, and we'll do it to the sun. Oh, it's like that. See how it's rotating? Way out here, inside here, it's going like this. Look at the soccer ball lines. Every once in a while, it's at a different position. Do you see? Because of that wobble. There's a wobble on the earth. So it is always going around at the different position. Okay? So we can go like this. It's like that. Oh, look at that. See? And meanwhile, this is right here. It is also doing that same motion. And that is why this is moving. See, it's rotating. See, there's that hook. See the hook? It's rotating. It's rotating, but it is not. It is always being faced the same way. Do you see this? So it's going like this. This is moving like this. Like that. And then this is moving in that manner like that. All right? So it's like basically kind of like these figure eights that are moving in their cycles like that. Boom. See that? They're going like that. Kind of like how an atom is moving. You see that figure eight in the ground? That is what they're doing. I'll slow it down. All right? So they're all going the same direction. Understand? They're going the same direction. But this is just going faster on that rotation. And then this is going a little slower on its rotation. So that's why you will see the moon is here for some people. And then now the moon is gone and it's for other people. But you will always see this same side of the moon. You'll never get to see this side right here. And that is why, is because of how it is moving in this weird figure eight. You see the thing moving, right? You see the hook moving? You see the hook moving? See, it is moving. That hook is moving. You see it? It is on the right. It is on my right side now. Oh, now it's on the left side now. Now it's on the right side now. See the hook? It's on the right side now. Oh, look, now it's on the left side now. You see? So they have this weird thing that goes like this. And because of that, that is what is creating the pool of the oceans. They are kind of like a magnet in a manner, because the earth itself has its own magnetic sphere, and the earth has its magnetic sphere. So if you're taking two magnets, I'm going to show you. I'll show you really quickly. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. So now, as we were saying and discussing, I'm trying to show you that these are not revolving around each other at all, like people think. So I'm going to show you, here's the magnet. All right. So we'll set the magnet up like this, just so you can see something. so you can understand each electromagnetic field that each one of them have. Now, let me make sure these are right. All right, flip this around this way. Now, as you see, when you take a magnet and you're trying to push this magnet onto this magnet, see, it pushes it. You see how it pushes? And it pushing this away. I tried to hold it where like that. There we go. You see? I'm not doing anything. I'm put my finger like this. I'll put my hand like that on the ground flat. Dragging it back. All right. Now you know that when you try to take two magnets and put them together, you can feel them pushing each other apart. If you flip it this way, then they stick. Flip it this way, they don't. It throws it, it pushes it away. It pushes it. It pushes it. Oh, did Chris just tell you about gravity and how gravity is created? Don't tell. NASA's bullshit, so is Elon Musk and all of them. That they don't know what they're talking about, everyone. They're lying to everybody. And I am showing you guys how gravity is actually created on a planet through the magnets, the magnetism of each of these. So if these had the same equal magnetism, right? So you see this? This won't pick it up, it'll flip it, right? So if each of these had its own magnetism and they were the same magnetism, if the moon was the same magnetism and the earth was the same magnetism, they would go like this together. Boom, they'd collide into each other. They'd collide into each other. If they were, boom, they'd stick to each other. You understand? But because they have separate magnetisms, they push on each other. Pushing, you know, like let's say this is a magnet, and as they're revolving in that manner I showed you, they're pushing on each other, and sometimes they go away, they bring back, they go away, bring back, they go away, because you have to remember, the sun also has its own magnetism, right? So as this is pushing on the moon as well, and there is this magnetism that is pushing back on it, and it is keeping the moon there in place. You know how God said, God hang the earth on nothing. He hanged it on nothing, but it is, here's the push of that. It's a different magnetism to that side. This side has a different magnetism. This has a different magnetism. So as this pushes, because if they were the same, that'd go into the sun. Nope, it has to push. And this push is not as great as this one. So this is a little bit less of a push, right? So you see this being pushed here. Now, they will say that the moon is less. I want to correct when I said what I said. I meant to say that they say that the moon has less gravity than the earth. So if it's stuck in between two gravitational fields, right, that is more than likely, that is the reason of the gravity being a little bit less, or in reality, it will be more. Because this is being pushed here. So the planet itself should be either denser, because of the being compressed together, being denser, or if it's a lighter and it being like that, it'll have less and it will be less dense. You understand? So the sun is pushing the moon, and the earth has its own thing, and it's pushing off the moon. Go back that way, you sun. Go that, because if this had the same, suck in there. If it had the same here, boom, it suck it in there. But because of God's wisdom through magnetisms, you can clearly see how gravity is being created. The push from here is pushing here. This is being pushed, this, and it's being pushed. And then there's another planet. And this planet on this side is pushing the Earth back this way. Because if they would have the same magnetism, the Earth would go over here and the moon would go over here. And, you know, if there was the same magnetisms of the planets, they would all stick together. Right? Boom. So if, as long as you have the magnetisms, and this is another thing about creating electricity. Okay? So when you have the same different magnetism, so that has a different magnetism, it's pushing this here. This is pushing this. I wish I flattened these out so I could show you a lot better without having to fool around with the dumb shit like this. This is pushing on this. And it makes the Earth. This is the Earth. This is the moon. The sun pushing on that. It first is Mars. Understand? You got Mars, Venus, Earth. Mars pushing here. Venus having its own and has its moons as well to stabilize. So if I were to make a... I don't think I should be telling anybody any of this, to be honest. I really don't. Because if the scientists get a hold of this, they're going to be able to create something that I don't want them to have. They'll be able to create a machine that I don't want them to be able to create. Oh man, I don't know if I should be continuing in this at all. But I want to prove to everybody that they're lying. They have been lying to you for years. Muhammad is right. Yes, everything has its own axis. But he did not tell you about the electromagnetism as well, that each have different. It all starts with the sun, the word of God, the light. It all is always starts with that. The sun pushing this one, which is Mars. Then you have Venus with all of its moons as well. And every one of these, remember, every one of these is an electromagnetic field. And they're pushing on each other in opposite directions as magnets do. You see? They're pushing on each other as magnets do. Now, as these are separated, so you have Mars, Venus, and all its moons. And then you have Earth and its moon. All right? Now, there's a machine to make. There's a machine that you can make with this understanding. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. Venus's moons, each moon has its own gravitational field. And they're pushing and pulling on each other. Also on Venus, it's pushing and pulling on Venus. That's why Venus is all fucked, right? It's like that. This is almost liquid. Like the whole interior of this Venus is like lava, full of magma almost. Inside Venus, there is a core, like the Earth has a core. There is a core in Venus as well, but the Venus is not like the Earth in the manner. It is like the Earth, but it's not in the manner of being able to sustain life because of the way that it is. And the moon's gravity that is on it, the pressures that are being created upon this are so great, right? But the moon here for us, the way the moon is for us, is made just perfect that it keeps all of these things. Now, you have to understand, Mars here, Venus, Earth, or Earth right here, and its moon. Every one of these how can I say it again? As this is being pushed and this is being pushed, it's being pushed back to keep Mars in its place. Boom. It stays in its place. It's all moving in a wheel that goes around the sun, right? And every one has its own axis. Every moon has its own axis, and every moon has its own electromagnetic field. Every one of them. So as this is going around and it's creating this right here pressure, the reason Venus is so big and so many moons is this is almost like the safety mechanism created so that nothing collapses and goes this way. And so that nothing collapses and goes this way. So this right here is a big stabilizer. Now way out here you have Jupiter and all its moons, remember? So there's a stabilizer, here's a stabilizer over here for everything. Do you guys get it? Do you understand what I'm telling you? So as these are moving and revolving around, they are all in a perfect synchronization. Perfectly synchronated. Is that the word? Synchronization. No? Everything's synchronated. That does not sound right. Is it right? So the synchronization of it all, it stabilizes everything. It keeps everything stabilized. Okay? Now, if something down here moves slightly off, everything else down the line has to adjust. It will always start with the sun. So if the sun has done something that's different than what it normally does, let's say the sun has a wobble, but you can't barely see it, and all of a sudden it creates itself a wobble on it. That wobble is going to affect Mars. Then it's going to go and affect the moons of Venus, and to affect Venus. And then this is going to affect our moon, and our moon is going to affect our Earth, and then our Earth is going to affect Mercury, right? And it goes down a pattern because this really is a machine. But I'm not telling anybody about it. I cannot. But I just wanted to let everyone know that no, the Earth and the Moon, they are not actually revolving around each other in the manner that you have been taught in school. It's impossible. It's impossible. So I could show you a clip where they try to explain to you how it goes around the moon. I will explain to you this. I will show you how they're lying. So this is how NASA is trying to explain the movement of the moon. Okay? Watch this. You'll understand, and then you'll be able to clearly see that they are lying compared to what I have told you now, compared to what they have said. All right? All right, now here we go.
Look carefully, and you'll see that, yes, we still get to have a 360-degree view of the moon. No hidden sides. But what if the moon rotated just as fast as it revolved? Like this. Ooh, check this out.
No, stop right there. Stop right there. Now, as you see, when this thing is moving, he is not moving this. This face, if it starts right here, man, I wish I'd slow it down for you.
But what if the moon rotated just as fast as it revolved? Like this. Ooh, check this out. The moon is rotating, right? Look at the line.
No,
if you don't believe me.
You're moving that,
right?
the face.
But it's rotating at a rate that matches the revolution. Just so.
No. They're not. It's not rotating around itself. If this was rotating around itself, it would show you the spin. It would spin, man. And it does spin. It does spin. Why you're only seeing one thing is because of the figure 8. The eightness that's in the galaxy, like I showed you, how it's moving in a weird way. If you look at your galaxy, the galaxy itself is also spiraled. It's a spiral. DNA is a spiral. So everything is a spiral in our galaxy, including these rotations. These are all spiraling. Okay? So when he's trying to show you this and they're making this move, they are not moving the face. Notice that the face is not, they are moving the line, but this face they are not letting move. Watch.
so that only one side of the moon ever faces Earth. And that's exactly the situation we find ourselves in today.
No. You see it. You can see it. And you can go and do that with your own hand. Like I'm showing you, you can go and try to do that, and you'll see that don't work in reality. That's not truth. That's not truth. So it's a machine. Like I said, it's a living machine that God has created right here. It's a living machine. And that living machine is what creates. I cannot say. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum.